Hello there, how you doing? Me, Paddy from across the shop, and got a bit of a different, it's a sharpening video. One of my subs has asked if I would sharpen C70 steel because she's got it on one of her knives. Now, C70 steel is a carbon steel. It's over here in the UK, it's used an awful lot in the traditional Sheffield knives. They would use C70 still in an awful lot of their blades. Now, their more expensive ones have gone up now and they're using different steels. But C70 was used for a long time. So, C70, some people find it quite difficult, and I think they find it quite difficult for a different reason than they actually think it. Well, that sounds a bit complicated. Let me explain myself. And please, I'm not trying to put anybody down, or I'm just not very good at explaining. I'm still learning at sharpening. So, I find that with C70, this is a lovely Sheffield Barlow in C70, I find sometimes C70 can be a bit gummy. Now, what do I mean by gummy? It means that when you're trying to get a burr even, sometimes it's really difficult to get that burr to form. And I never move on until I get a burr to form. And sometimes when people have got new knives, you still have this fact, because this is ground by hand on a machine. Yeah, the edge is ground. So you can get fatigued eggs. So if you've got a new knife, give it a couple of sharpenings and transferring the burr backwards and forward a couple of times. I don't mean go on all night, but just a couple of times takes away that fatigue steel that you can get sometimes when steel is maybe heated. It's too hot when it's being done, basically. So the steel, it deforms the steel. Now, I'm going to use basic stuff here because the person who asked me said that they didn't have the basic sharpening stuff. Well, you can start down here. This is a DMT stone and this is the coarse. I don't need the coarse for this steel. This is not, this knife for a start is not blunt. So I don't need that. I'm going to the DMT, and this is the medium stone that they have. And this is about 600 grit. This is probably my most used stone. If when I'm hand sharpening, because I'll usually start here unless I'm going to do reprofiling, and then if it's reprofiling I tend to use my Lansky for it, but I can do it by hand when I want to. So I'm going to start with blunting the knife completely because that's the best place to start. Now, I would say that's pretty blunt, but I'm going to get a bit of paper just to prove it to you that it is blunt. Receipt paper. Now, look, that is just ripping it. It's doing nothing. So we're starting off with a really blunt knife. Now, in all my sharpening videos that I say, look, C70 is one of the easier steels to sharpen. And I'm going to say something now. Pressure. Funny, this was talked about not so long ago by Super Steel Steve and a couple of others in a forum. I was listening to them. Pressure is one of the things that sometimes can be your worst enemy. When we've got a blunt knife, we tend to put pressure on when we're sharpening. But once you get a burr, the pressure has to be taken away completely. I don't even use pressure trying to get a burr on a C70 steel. There's no need. There is no need. The nice smooth passes, let the diamonds do the work. Really, really let them do the work. And I'm a great believer in feeling a burr. You've got to feel that burr. But you can't just feel the burr here and a wee bit in the middle is not there, and you think, oh, well, I'll catch it up when I go to the other side. Forget that. Just take that out of your head. So let's start. This is just the medium course from Spyderco. And what I'm going to do is going to find my edge, and all that is just tilt, well, let me just get, is tilting this up until I can see no gap underneath it. So, and then I'm going to pull my knife across. And remember, because of the curve at the top of the blade, as you come to the end of it, you need to curve it up so that you're catching the whole of the blade. So, I'll do this, let's just do this a couple of times. And I'm not putting any pressure. I'll just let you hear it. I'm just literally It's the pressure of my hand holding it, and I'm just pushing it down. And I'm doing it this way. Normally I'll have my hand at the end, I'll be on a stone and going back and forth, but for a pen knife there really is not that much need. But if that's the way you want to do it, just do it. If you want to have the stone flat and do it, I'm just doing it this way. So I want to show you just how quickly you can. Now this was a completely blunt knife, which you should never let a knife get. Never let. Carry a stone with you if you're going to be busy, and just give it a quick sharpening during the day or wherever during the... So what I'm going to do now is my nail. This is what I do. I get my nail, I put it on the edge of the blade, and I'm feeling for a burr. Now, I haven't got one yet. It started already, but it's not there yet, so it's not the whole way up the blade. So, and you can see all I'm trying to do is set this back down at the same angle and just pull it up the length of the blade and let that stone do the work. These stones they're only as good as you letting them and you using them. So I'm going to check again. Now, let me just, I don't know whether you'll hear this, but I'll be quiet. That is all the way up the blade. I can feel that little burr all the way up the blade. So now, and only now that I've got that full blade, then I simply just take it over and do the other side. And all I'm trying to do is set this at the same angle as I set it here, I set it here. And you don't have to get, you're only learning to sharpen, you don't have to get exact angles. But what you do is your sight. I can see that edge all the way up, I can see that edge all the way up. So before I finish, I want them both to look the same. That's as simple as that. And if you start with that, that's fine. Once you want to get absolute perfection, that comes later. Just learn how to sharpen. So I put that in the same angle that I thought it was on this side. I'm going to do the same thing. I'm going to lift it up and I'm going to go across it. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to try and take the burr that I've put on this side off. And you see there, it's just that little movement. Keep your wrist straight and just lift up at the end so that you're going along the whole of the blade. And sometimes I'll do it like this and I'll go to the end. I mean, do it whatever way you want to get it. If you're finding it a bit stubborn, sometimes that's the best way of doing it. But just do it whichever way you want. I have so many. Sometimes I sit, and I was nearly just going to take that over there because I know the burr is on here. I just want you to hear the burr is, I was going to do that. There's a simple, me doing the simple mistake. The burr is right down here, but this last little bit, there is no burr. So I was nearly just going to do and rush there. And that would have been the mistake that most people make when they start. So what I'm going to do is maybe just give that, I'll put my finger on top and I'm only just pushing gently until, as I say, there's so many ways to do it. Find the way that suits you. Now, I'm going to check again. There you are. It's all the way down now. And it was as simple as that, but that simple mistake would stop this being sharp at the base of the knife. So I'm going to take it, I'm going to turn it over. Now, you can do this with a new knife. This, I mean, I've sharpened this once before, so there's nothing wrong with me doing it again. But for the sake of the video, I'm going to take this off. I'm going to say I'm going to take this off. I'm going to take the burr off. And once I feel that it's off, I'm just going to do it. And I'll just do it evenly, one side and then t'other. I'm putting no pressure on it. No pressure whatsoever. And this is just a 600 grit stone. This is not... And to be honest with you, for an ADC knife, you really don't need this super high gloss. You just want a knife that's sharp. you don't need a pretty knife. So what I'm going to do is I am now going to look to see whether my bevel is the same the whole way up the knife. And when I mean the bevel, I mean the sharpening. This is really difficult to show you. Just at this angle here, right up there, not the angle, the depth of it is the same on this side as it is on this side, which is harder to show you. There we go. I'm trying to get the light. There you go. So it looks about the same. It mightn't be perfect, but it's all right. So again, I'm just going to do this a couple of times. Make sure I've got as much of that burr flattened out that I need to. So that's a 600 stone. That's the only stone I've used so far. I've blunted it and I've put an edge back on it. Now, what is that edge like? Again, this is live, so I can't tell you. There's the same paper. So there we go. My edge is all the way down there and it's cutting fine. It's a bit rough, but no, it's not rough at all, as in it won't cut. Look at that. So it's not finished. So I've got a rough edge on it. What do I do now? Well, I can go to, and this is a cheap 100 grit stone. This literally cost me about £6 or £7 from Amazon. I could go to that and do the burr on the other side of that as well. And if it's a brand new knife, why not go ahead and do that? But I'm just going to go straight from that 600 grit to the Spyderco Ultra Fine. Now, I've got the large one. You don't need the large one. That was me just being greedy at the time because I had the money. But this stone is invaluable. If you want to do hand sharpening, I believe this stone is invaluable. It's just, it'll take, if you take a 180 grit and put it on this stone, you can get your edge refined. It's an amazing stone. Perfectly flat and absolutely perfect. So not only will it give you a nice clean edge, it will also shine your edge. It'll give it that mirror finish if you keep going. The longer you go, it'll keep doing it. So again, it's exactly the same. Turn it up. Let's get that. And we're just going to give it that there. And I'm hoping you're going to see. So that was. And I'm trying now to do the same. And you'll feel when you're cutting, when you lift it up, you'll feel it's like you're taking the surface of it off. And that's what you want to feel. I'm just skimming the surface of that off. Skimming the surface. And I can see the glistening of this blade. I'll show you in a minute. It's an amazing stone. And it just goes to show, it doesn't take you, you do not need to be a genius. Honestly, if I could do it, and I couldn't sharpen at all. In the beginning, I just could not, especially hand sharpening, but what I'm showing you is just something you practice yourself. Do it your way, find a way of doing it. I can't tell you how much in that little short space of time. Let me see if I can show you how. I was trying to get I'm looking into the camera and I can't really see. But I don't know whether you can see how bright that is already. That is already bright and shining. Let me see if I can get to the side and show you. It's probably not showing yet. It's really hard to show on. That's why these knife sharpeners, they're amazing. Now, doesn't that feel nicer? That sound nicer. You can hear it. And I'm cutting it like that on purpose so you can hear it. Now, I'm going to be honest with you. This back bit of this is not as good. Whether I could have maybe not given it a proper, so I'm going to put my finger here, and even on this ultrafine, which feels like a marble top, it will remove steel. It will remove steel. So I'm just going to place my finger there, put a little bit of pressure on that base so that, now it's only a little bit, I'm not digging into it. So, and then I'm going to finish it off with my swipes again. Tilt it up till you feel it slicing across the top. Now this is a better edge on it and a shinier edge than it had before I started. So it just, it just shows you. Now, let me just see. Let's give this a little wipe off. And let me show you what it's cutting like. That's better. Now that's better. So much better. So we'll move on now. And only move on when you're happy with what you've got at that point. The last thing, a strop. Get a strop. This is one that's bought with a compound comes. You can make your own strop up out of a leather belt, a leather shoe. Bama Knife Gear uses one with just the top of a leather shoe. He flattened it out on a bit of wood, and that's what he uses a strop. But these are so easy to buy now that are preloaded, and just use a strop. Stropping is nearly another game completely. So let's go. Let's take the knife and a strop, bring it down and up. Now this is the way Jeff Jewell does it, and I copy him on everything. He is so good. I'm quite happy to copy anything he does. It's been proven to be good, so that's the way I do it. So all I'm trying to do now is take the burr. If there's any wee tiny burr at the end, this stropping should take it. And it only takes, 5 or 6 goes on either side, and you will start to feel it. And sometimes, like there, I seen a little bit of a burr. It actually comes off. It is just wire. It's a little bit of wire that goes along the edge of the knife. And what this is trying to do is just take it off so that that edge is perfect. So that when you're cutting with it, it's not going to hold up. Let me get another piece of this. I keep all my wee receipts up here, and I use them when I'm doing my own knives just to check the sharpness. So, how good is that? I mean, that's from blunt to razor sharp. And this is C70, which a lot of people find, but sometimes it is the pressure that they put trying to cut into it, and it just seems to get gummy at the edges. It doesn't take the sharpening. But when you release that pressure that you put on things, C70 is still a lovely blade steel, although it's old. On a knife like this that I'm just going to use for EDC, this is a beautiful knife, by the way. I have a review coming on this. It's proper stag handles, beautiful knife. It's just under the £50 mark, which is just under $60. A beautiful clip, which I know my friend Stassa will love, but it's a beautiful clip, made in Sheffield, by hand. Not perfect, but a beautiful knife. So now it's a beautiful sharp knife. And to my sub who asked me to sharp C70, I hope that sort of gives you, it is simple. Don't, try not to complicate it. If you're doing it and you try my way, just that with a 600 stone, a ceramic, a strop, there you go, you got a razor sharp knife. If you've got any troubles, give me a shout, hit me in the text. Well, I'll talk you through it, or we'll find out what's going wrong and where. So there we go. C70, sharpened with old Paddy. There we go. Thank you very much for watching. Thank you to my sub for asking me to show it to you. I hope it's all right for you. I hope you see my way of doing things. Look, I'm really basic. So there you go. I recommend Jeff Jewell, I Heart Knives. They're the two people. Super Steel Steve doesn't do it as much anymore, but I Heart Knives and Jeff Jewell, two great sharpeners. And Jeff Jewell has so many videos up. If you want to see how to sharpen by hand, go see him. I'm away for a wee cup of tea and make another video. Take care. Bye bye now. Cup of tea time.